Radhe Devi Sachavachai Namo Namaha. Vrinai Hai Tulsi Devi Priyai Hai Keshavasya Vishnu Mati Prade Devi Sachavachai Namo Namaha. Vrinai Hai Tulsi Devi Priyai Hai Keshavasya Vishnu Mati Prade Devi Sachavachai Namo Namaha. Jai Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Okay. Very well. Okay. You got to put everybody on mute. Did you mute?
Yeah, Nanbrajpal is the host, so he's doing it.
Oh, he's going to mute everybody. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjaliyati Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjaliyati Vijana Ballava Jaya Girivaradhare Jaya Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatkacharya, also Teta Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya. Chalananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shupasiti Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopa Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuranam Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Srimati Lasidevi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Haribol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prastaya Budale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pacharni Nivashesha Srinyavadi, Paschatati Jatarni, Om Magana Timadanda Shah, Gananjana Shalakaya, Chakshur Miditam Yena Tasmai, Shri Gurave Namaha. Please close the curtains or drapes or blinds behind me. So, we're continuing with our study of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. We're reading from the 5th chapter of the Antya lila. And there is a Brahmin from Bengal in this particular chapter who has written some impersonal Mayavadi nonsense poetry about Lord Chaitanya, considering Lord Chaitanya to be the soul of the body of Lord Jagannath, which is actually improper because Lord Jagannath's body is spiritual, Lord Chaitanya's body is spiritual. There's no duality between the body and soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in any of his manifestations, incarnations, avatars, etc. So try to remember that. So, and then at this particular juncture in the story, Swarup Damodar Goswami, who was correcting the Brahmin, who happened to be very humble, unlike many people we know, Swarup Damodar Goswami is actually turning the Brahmin's words around and making it as praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is a very interesting linguistic, that means language, technique. One interesting point that's very interesting is that Swarup Damodar Goswami originally said that the Brahmana was paving his way to hell. And now he's being very compassionate because the Brahman's humble. So what does that mean for us? That means that we're not humble. Because we cling to our grudges. Isn't it? I've been talking to some devotees here how, sometimes they do things or some people do things and people disagree or whatever, and somehow or other it becomes like your eternal enemy. And you ban people, you shun them. It's really demoniac. Isn't it? Someone may have done or said something you disagree with. You have a right to disagree. Isn't it? You have a right to disagree with someone about anything, about management, about vaccines, anything. You have a right. But to keep that person as your eternal enemy, and shun them from your group, and not allow your husband or your wife to speak to them anymore. It's demoniac with horns on it. You understand? Devotee forgives whatever. Like Jesus Christ said, you slap me on one cheek, turn the other cheek, because we don't want to get slapped twice. But anyway, that's true. But at the same time, forgiveness is the quality of a devotee. Remember that. And I've seen it here, that many devotees are very reluctant to forgive. It's just like they're just like beam saying. After he saw the attempted disrobing of Draupadi, you understand? It said he was like a trampled snake. You remember that expression? That you understand? Because he's always waiting to strike, and finally when he could strike it, Duryodhana, wow, Haribo, Kuranga, you know. So, whereas Arjuna had different qualities. Arjuna was always ready to forgive. I mean, maybe too much to ready to forgive. That's the opposite extreme, and therefore he had to get chastised by Krishna. But the point is, we shouldn't be like Bhimsen. We should just forget the past. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said the past is the past. We have some disagreement, but this is life. You're going to have disagreements with people, isn't it? If you didn't, you'd all be dead or robots. The only person I never had a disagreement with is a dead person. Isn't it? Anyway, won't make a joke. So there's anyway, I won't say the joke. Anyway, so so the point is, yeah, we should love everyone, especially all the devotees, and everyone has a different opinion. Just like myself, I'm considered one of the liberals in ISKCON, and play guitar during Mangalarti. And there's people who are very conservative who just basically don't like it that I play guitar or whatever else I do. But I still love them because they're trying to please Krishna. That's the point. Just like in with the gopis, you have Radharani and Chandravali. They love each other, although they're competing with each other. Just like when we were competing with Tamal Krishna Maharaj as to who could distribute more books. We still loved each other. But, unfortunately, I've seen many times the devotees here, they develop these animosities, isn't it? Just because there's a difference of opinion or someone makes a mistake. You have to be ready to forgive. Phew. Okay, to forgive is divine. Remember that. Okay. On that happy advertisement, pointed point. So let's go on to the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. We are reading from the 5th chapter of the Antya Lila. So, Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, we're on text 140. Vachala kari kahiye veda pavartaka danya padisha tatapi shishu prayagarva shunya. The word vachala is used to refer to a person who can speak according to Vedic authority, and the word balisha means innocent. Krishna spoke the Vedic knowledge, yet he always presents himself as a prideless, innocent boy. Of course, what's being described here is the attempts of Shishupala to actually blaspheme Krishna during the Rajasuya sacrifice. And actually, he was calling Krishna as Vachala, which generally means someone who speaks too much. or Balisha means like, it's just like a kid, with no brains. But in this particular case, he takes Vichala to mean a person who can speak, who is very talkative according to the Vedic literature, and Balisha as someone who is just very innocent and pure, rather than someone who's just like stupid. So he's turning the words around that were spoken in the Bhagavatam. But then he's going to use the same technique to deal with the words of this poet. So Vanya Bhave Anam Ra Stava Shabde Kaya Yaha Hoite Anya Vigna Nahi Se Agya Haya. When there is no one else to receive obeisances, one may be called Anam Ra, or one who offers obeisances to no one. So it's a criticism of Krishna that you don't offer obeisances to anyone. But actually, it also can mean someone who doesn't have to offer obeisances to anyone because everyone's offering obeisances to him. This is the meaning of the word stabda. And because no one is found to be more learned than Krishna, he may be called agnya, indicating that nothing is unknown to him. So the word agnya sometimes means stupid, without knowledge, and also could mean nothing is unknown to him. So this is one who's very expert in Sanskrit grammar can also turn words around like that. Rupa Goswami was quite expert in doing that. You double what's called double entendres. Entendre means two meanings. Entendere, that's actually Latin, which means to understand. Panditeram hanya patra haya pandita mani tathapi bhakta vatsalye manusha abhimpane. The word pandita mani can be used to indicate that Krishna is honored even by learned scholars. Nevertheless, because of affection for his devotees, Krishna appears like an ordinary human being and may therefore be called Marcha. Marcha means death, basically, or someone who is subject to death. So you can also say Krishna appears as one who is subject to death. Therefore, you could use the word Marcha in relationship to Krishna. Jara Sanda Kahi Krishna Purusha Dhamma Tora Sangana Yushima Yahi Bandhuhan. The demon is Jarasandha, our friend. The demon Jarasandha chastised Krishna, saying, "You are the lowest of human beings. I shall not fight with you, for you killed your own relatives." It's true. In this verse also, Mother Saraswati offers prayers to Krishna. The word Purusha Adama refers to the personality of Godhead under whom all other persons remain, or in other words, Purusha Uttama, the best of all living beings. So Purusha Adama, Purusha Uttama. Similarly, the word Bandhuhan means the killer of Maya, actually. In the conditioned state of life, one is closely related with Maya as a friend, but when one comes in contact with Krishna, one is freed from that relationship. Ya itayanya purusha shakala adama sehaya pushadama saraswatiramana. Mother Saraswati takes Purushadama to mean Purushottama. That is, he to whom all men are subordinate. Uttama Purusha means the highest man or highest person. Bande Sabare Tate Avidya Bandhuhaya Avidya Nashaka Bandhuhan Shabde Kaya. Nescience or Maya may be called Bandhu, because she entangles everyone in the material world. Therefore, by using the word Bandhuhan, Mother Saraswati says that Lord Krishna is the vanquisher of Maya. Because, in other words, the word Bandhu can sometimes mean a relative, like Brahma Bandhu, a relative of a Brahmin, but it also can mean entanglement in Sanskrit. So Bandhuhan can mean the killer of your relatives, or killer of your relative, or it could also mean the killer of illusion or entanglement in the material world. You understand? Interesting. Everyone is entangled in the illusory energy, but it's stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:14, Mam eva ye prapajante mayam etam turanti te, Bhagavad Gita 7:14. It's said twice there. As soon as one surrenders to Krishna, he is freed from Maya. Therefore, Krishna may be called Bandhuhan, the killer of Maya. Mata Shishupala Karya Nindana Sivakye Saraswati Karena Stavana. Shishupala also blasphemed Krishna in this way, but the goddess of learning Saraswati offered her prayers to Krishna even by his words. Taichiye Shlokaye Tomara Arte Ninda Aise Saraswati Raharta Shuna Yate Stuti Bhase. In that way, although your verse is blasphemous according to your meaning, Mother Saraswati has taken advantage of it to offer prayers to the Lord. So here he's praising the Brahmin. See how kind he is? First he said, the Brahmin, you're going to hell, buddy. And then he said, well, because you're humble, then Krishna is taking your poetry in a different way than you intended, and he's taking his glorification. Jagannathahana Krishnera Atma Surupa Kintu Ihan Daru Brahma Stavara Sarupa. There's no difference between Lord Jagannath and Krishna, but here Lord Jagannath is fixed as the absolute person appearing in wood, therefore he does not move. Tanha Saba'at Mata Eka Rupahana Krishna Eka Tattva Rupa Dvi Rupahana. Thus, Lord Jagannath and Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, although appearing as two, are one because they are both Krishna, who is one alone. Samsara Tarana Hetu Yechi Icha Shakti Tahara Milanakari Ekata Yache Prapti. The supreme desire to deliver the entire world meets in the two of them, that's Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya. And for that reason, also, they are one and the same. Sakala samsari lokera karite udara gora jangama rupe koila havatara. To deliver all the materially contaminated people of the world, that same Krishna has descended in the moving form as Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Jagannath Hera Darshane Kondaya Sansara Sabadeshera Sabaloka Nare Asivara. By visiting Lord Jagannath, one is freed from material existence, but not all men of all countries can come or be admitted here in Jagannath Puri. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Deshe Deshayana Sabaloke Nishtarila Jangama Brahmana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, moves from one country to another personally or by his representative. Thus he, as the moving Brahman, delivers all the people of the world. Saraswatirartha ekahilun vivarana eho bhagya tumara aiche karila varnana. Thus I have explained the meaning intended by Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. It is your great fortune that you have described Lord Jagannath and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that way. Krishna gale dite kare nama ucharana se nama hayatara muktira karana. Sometimes it so happens that one who wants to chastise Krishna utters the holy name, and thus the holy name becomes the cause of his liberation. So what happened here, let me explain in depth. This particular Brahmin from Bengal, he wrote that Lord Chaitanya is the soul of the body of Lord Jagannath. So taking it literally, it's an offense. But taking it in the sense that both Lord Jagannath and Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu want to free the souls of Kali Yuga, therefore Lord Chaitanya is the intention of Lord Jagannath and of himself. So he's the soul, meaning the intention, the desire of Lord Jagannath. Because Lord Jagannath just stays in one place. You understand? I'm just reiterating what just went on in the previous verses. Lord Jagannath is just, basically, he decides to be immobile. I'm not saying he is immobile, but he decides to be immobile and not move. Whereas Lord Chaitanya moves, so he's fulfilling the desire of Lord Jagannath, who is the same as Lord Chaitanya, and that's the soul of both of them. So that's very interesting how Swarup Damodar Goswami has taken this. Okay. So, Tabe se kavi subara chanane padhiya subara shadanat laila dante trinahan lana. Upon hearing the proper explanation by Swarup Damodar Goswami, the Bengali poet fell down at the feet of all the devotees. And here's another point. He took shelter of them with a straw in his mouth. That's actually a sign of humility in India. You did put a straw in your mouth. It's interesting. Has anyone here ever done that? Never? Put a straw in your mouth and bow down. Try it. Tabe sava bhakta gitare angikara kaila taraguna kai mahaprabhure milaila. Thereupon, all the devotees accepted his association, see? First, he's just like persona non grata. That means we don't want him, he's like a piece of stool, basically. But when he became humble, they just said, all right, forget about the past. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says, don't dwell in the past, and don't dwell in the future, but be in the present. Thereupon, all the devotees, whatever someone did, we have to remember what everybody did before they joined the Krishna conscious movement. I mean, I think many of you ate a lot of murgis, right? Right?
And murga.
Murga and murgis.
Everything and anything.
And matchas. Not you, because you were born in a devotee family, right?
We used to.
Really?
Yeah.
When you were young?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't want to talk to you anymore. you're Yavana. Yeah.
It was 93 that we.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I thought since you were the youngest, they had already joined by the time you were born. No,
No, I was just 11 years old.
11 years old. So you were a malacha up until 11. After that, you became a human being. Really, I didn't know that. Anyway, I mean, most of the devotees here, they did things before they became Krishna conscious. And, what to speak of me, so many things. Okay, so we just forget, we don't look at, to consider Vaishnava according to their past is considered like seeing the deity being made of stone. It's the same thing. Se kavi sarva tyagi kahila nilachale goravata ganera kripa ke gahite pare. By the mercy of the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that poet from Bengal gave up all other activities and stayed with them at Jagannath Puri. Who can explain the mercy of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That's amazing. So he became one of Lord Chaitanya's intimate associates, even though he was a blasphemer before. Eta kahilun prajuna misha vivarana prabhura jnaya koila Krishna Katara Shravana. I have thus described the narration concerning Prajuna Mishra and how, following the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he listened to discourses about Krishna spoken by Ramananda Roy. Taramajje kahilun Ramanandera Mahima Apane Shri Mukhi Prabhu Parnayanra Shima. Within the narration, I have explained the glorious characteristics of Sri Ramananda Roy, through whom Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally described the limits of ecstatic love for Krishna. Prastave kailun kavivra nataka vivarana adhyahana shradaya Paila Prabhura Charana. In the course of the narration, I've also told about the drama by the poet from Bengal. Although he was ignorant because of his faith and humility, he nevertheless obtained shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Lila Amritera Sara Eka Lila Prabhahi Vahi Shata Shata Dhara. The pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the essence of nectar. From the stream of one of his pastimes flow hundreds and thousands of branches. Wow. Shraddha Kariye Lila Ye Pare Shune Gora Lila Bhakti Bhakta Rasa Tattva Jane. Anyone who reads and hears these pastimes with faith and love can understand the truth about devotional service, devotees, and the transcendental mellows of the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we're ending the chapter. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yaraha Shah Caitanya Caritamrta Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Caitanya Caritamrta following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Caitanya Caritamrta Antya Lila, 5th chapter, describing how Pradyumna Mishra received instructions from Ramananda Roy. So we'll start the next chapter. Chapter 6. Oh, this is an ecstatic chapter. The meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Das Goswami. A summary of this chapter is given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Prabha Vasha as follows. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into transcendental fits of ecstatic love, Ramananda Roy and Sarup Damodar Goswami attended to him and satisfied him as he desired. Raghunath Das Goswami had been attempting to come to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a long time, and finally he left his home and met the Lord. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to Shantipur on his way to Vrindavana, Raghunath Das Goswami had offered to dedicate his life at the Lord's lotus feet. In the meantime, however, a Muslim official became envious of Haranyadas, Raghunath Das Goswami's uncle, and induced some big official court minister to have him arrested. Thus Haranyadas left his home, but by the intelligence of Raghunath Das, the understanding was mitigated. Then Raghunath Das went to Panihati, and following the order of Nityananda Prabhu, he observed a festival, this Chiradhari Mahotsava, by distributing chip rice mixed with yogurt. The day after the festival, Nityananda Prabhu gave Raghunath Das the blessing that he would very soon attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After this incident, Raghunath Das, with the help of his priest, whose name was Yadanandana Acharya, got out of his house by trickery and thus ran away. Not touching the general path, Raghunath Das Goswami secretly went to Jagannath Puri. After 12 days, he arrived at Jagannath Puri at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entrusted Raghunath Das Goswami to Swarup Damodar Goswami. Therefore, another name for Raghunath Das Goswami is Swarupara Raghu, or the Raghunatha of Swarup Damodar. For 5 days, Raghunath Das Goswami took prasadam at the temple, but later he would stand at the Singadwara gate and eat only what he could gather by alms. Later he lived by taking alms from various chatras, or food distributing centers. When Raghunath Das's father received news of this, he sent some men and money, but Raghunath Das Goswami refused to accept the money. Understanding that Raghunath Das Goswami was living by begging from the chatras, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented him with his own Gunjamala and a stone from Govardhan Hill. Gunjamala is the red and the white berries that we put around Govardhan, and I don't have them with me because if I came here to New Zealand, they might take them away from me on the border. So I left them in Fiji. And I also left the peacock feather for Giriraj in Fiji because you're not allowed to take peacock feathers through the border. And I've gotten in trouble before when I've gotten attacked by a dog at the border. because they have a dog review all your luggage now. And one time, I had a little pedal, little tiny pedal, like about this small, inside my bead bag, and I had my bead bag on. The dog went after my bead bag. I said, "What's wrong with my bead bag?" And they almost arrested me for a pedal. So, they'll give me a fine. They wouldn't arrest me. And so I'm really careful what I bring in now. Yeah, I turn the bead bag inside out to make sure there's no flower petals stuck in it. Turn my clothes inside out. I'm super careful. I declare even my herbal supplements. Declare my neck beads. Yeah, everything. Because one time I didn't declare the japa beads. They said, "What? You didn't declare it." I said, "Well," so I declared neck beads, this, everything, my hair, everything. But it's organic. And I don't even bring tilak in, because I got in trouble for that one time. Yeah.
Even if you declare it, Guru Maharaj.
No, I'm not going to, it's just a pain. So I just don't bring anything in. Because one time I didn't declare, and they said, "This is dirt." I said, "No, it's tilak." And they said, "No, it's dirt." I said, "It's purified." And they said, "No, it's dirt." So, anyway, really strict here. This is the strictest country I've ever been in, at the border. So anyway, we'll continue. So that's what Gunjamala is. And stone from Govardhan Hills of Govardhan Shila. Thereafter, Jagannath Das Goswami used to eat rejected food that he had collected and washed. This renounced life greatly pleased both Swarup Damodar Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took by force some of the same food, thus blessing Jagannath Das Goswami for his renunciation. Okay, we'll start. Kripa Gunarya Kugran Dakupad Udritabhangya Vagunatha Dasam Nyasasarupe Vidadain Tarangam Shri Krishna Chaitanyam Amum Prabhadye. With the ropes of his causeless mercy, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu employed a trick to deliver Jagannath Das Goswami from the blind well of contemptible family life. He made Jagannath Das Goswami one of his personal associates, placing him under the charge of Swarup Damodar Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda. All glories to Sri Dvaita Acharya. And all glories to all the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hey Mata Gaura Chandra Bhaktagana Sange Nilachale Nana Lila Kare Nana Range. Thus Lord Gaurachandra performed various pastimes with his associates at Jagannath Puri in varieties of transcendental pleasure. Yadyapi antare Krishna Viyoga Baddaye Bahirena Prakashya Bhakta Dukkha Boye. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt pangs of separation from Krishna, he did not manifest his feelings externally, for he feared the unhappiness of his devotees. Utkataviraha dukkha yabibhagiraya tabeye vaikalya prabhuravarnana nadyaya. The transformations undergone by the Lord when he manifested severe unhappiness due to separation from Krishna cannot be described. Ramanandera Krishna Kata Surupera Gana Viraha Vidanaya Prabhura Rakaye Purana. When the Lord acutely felt pangs of separation from Krishna, only Sri Ramananda Roy's talks about Krishna and the sweet songs of Swarup Damodar kept him alive. Of course, Swarup Damodar Goswami is actually Lalita Devi, and Ramananda Roy is Vishaka. So they were always consoling Srimati Radharani when she was feeling separation from Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya was in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Dine Prabhu Nana Sange Hayanya Mana Rachikale Vade Prabhura Viraha Vedana. Because the Lord associated with various devotees during the day, his mind was somewhat diverted, but at night the pangs of separation from Krishna increase very rapidly. Tanra sukha hetu sange rahi dvejana Krishna rasa shloka gite karena santvana. Two people, Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar Goswami, stayed with the Lord to pacify him by reciting various verses about Krishna's pastimes and by singing appropriate songs for his satisfaction. Subhalayaiche purve Krishna sukhera sahaya gora sukha danahetu taiche rama raya. Previously, when Lord Krishna was personally present, Subal, one of his coward boyfriends, gave him happiness when he felt separation from Radharani. Similarly, Ramananda Roy helped give happiness to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purve aiche Radhara Lalita Sahaya Pradhana Taiche Sarupa Goshani Rake Mahaprabhura Prana. Previously, when Srimati Radharani felt the pangs of separation from Krishna, her constant companion Lalita kept her alive by helping her in many ways. Similarly, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt Radharani's emotions, Swarup Damodar Goswami helped him maintain his life. Adwi Janara Saubhagya Kahanana Yaya Prabhura Antaranga Bale Nyanre Loke Gaya. To describe the fortunate position of Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar Goswami is extremely difficult. They were renowned as intimately confidential friends of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. E Matavihare Goralana Bhaktakana Raghunatha Milana E Shuna Bhaktakana. The Lord thus enjoyed his life with his devotees. O devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, now hear how Raghunath Das Goswami met the Lord. And that's where we're going to end now and take some questions. Let me unmute everybody. And whoops, what happened here? Something disappeared. Uh-oh. There we go. The screen just went blank for a second. All right. First, we'll take questions from our audience here. Okay, audience.
Comment, Maharaj. I'm
Yeah.
blown away by your ability to read the Bengali narrations.
Is it good, bad, or?
It's really good because when I read, I didn't read that. Just read the English and the translations.
Is the pronunciation all right, or?
Yeah, it's great.
Bengali? I mean, any Bengalis here?
You should know.
Actually, there's one Bengali listening right now. Pran Govinda is listening. You know Pran Govinda? He's So he's actually the cousin of Bhakti True Maharaj. And he's my regional secretary for at least the temples in the United States and maybe eventually Fiji. Don't tell him. We have plans for him. Oh my God, I told him. Anyway, so he's a very nice devotee. He's going to be taking sannyas this year, I hope. And he's assisting me in different places. And anyway, in America right now with all the politics. So, all right. So, thank you. So, any other questions? Yes, Your Divine Grace.
Maharaj, sometimes like I'm not talking anybody from here. These are general question.
Yeah.
So, like devotees, they make mistakes, and we ask forgiveness, and we sort out everything. That they keep doing same thing again and again. So, what should we do like that?
What should we do? Send them to Australia. What should you do? Call their guru. That rhymes. What you do? Call the guru. What? Do you have the 800 numbers here? Toll-free numbers 1-800-GURU. 0800 GURU. Guru Dave, yeah. No, don't call their guru. But if it's me, don't call me. If their guru is someone else, then you do that. But not me. What do? That's interesting. Then you just sit with them and discuss it peacefully, and then try again and again. We never give up with devotees. I mean, if it's a mistake is one thing. If they do it purposefully, it's another thing. Mistakes are one thing. Purposefully, then they may have to have some consolation. Oh, Prangumina just wrote me back. All right, you just wrote this. It has to come true. He says, "Dear Maharaj, as long as you keep me as your servant for the rest of my life, I will remain happy." All right, so you wrote it, not me. You just said it to Krishna, and the Vaishnavas. So, and I just read it out. So, so just somehow or other, meet with them in a peaceful way, try to understand their needs, try to be compassionate with them, give them prasadam, whatever you have to do, or you may have to give them a different service if they keep making the same mistake. If they keep putting Radharani's dress on Krishna, then just so you shouldn't be doing deity worship here, Maybe you should be gardening. Send them to the plow department, as Prabhupada said. Does that make sense? You can figure it out. That's management. But never reject a devotee. Devotees are too dear. I mean, we shed gallons of blood to make devotees. I mean, to make a devotee is so hard. I mean, just like just like I'm going around visiting people's houses here. It's not easy sitting in a car all day long. I mean, visiting a house is kind of nice, but sitting in a car I don't like. I don't like sitting down all day long. It's actually not good for the body either. But it's been really successful as far as cultivating devotees here, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of you have come, well, some of you maybe, because we visited you.
Yes.
I remember visiting Radha Padma and Lady Kant, Krishna Kant, in their house, and it's just, isn't it? And by visiting them, they were Rakshasas before. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. I'm just joking. They were good devotees. They were good. It's a visit them in their house, and then, the cultivation. To bring people to Krishna consciousness requires cultivation. And you spend so much energy cultivating people, and then you're ready to just kick them out the door. It's really not good. The devotee is very rare. So, any other questions from the people here? Yeah.
Maharaj, you said we should forget the past activities and
Yeah.
devotees and forgive them. What about non-devotees? How should we?
You forget the past and let them become devotees. I mean, in certain things you remember, like if someone's a child abuser, obviously. I mean, you got to have some common sense. Or if someone is a killer, someone who's killed everybody, shot everybody. I'm not going to forget the past with that guy. He better stay locked up in jail for a long time. But, we just hold on to what we consider. We say, you offended me. you offended me, just like we hold on to it. So we just forget it. Except for super serious things. Why should we think about it? I mean, I've had people who just like really did wild things to me. But I just forget it, I mean, I remember it, but I don't just harbor it in my heart. I don't meditate on it. It's just something, I let it flow. Whatever happened, whatever person did. I may joke about it. But, it's gone. It's gone.
It's just an experience.
Yeah, it's the past. You can't do anything about the past. Past is past. You can't go back. It's not like the time machine. H.G. Wells. You ever read H.G. Wells? No. He had it.
Oh,
The
the
ti-
author. Yeah.
Yeah, the author H.G. Wells, A Time Machine.
Yes.
You can't go back in the past. You can't go into the future. You can only be at the present. So whatever I did, I'm not happy about everything I did before I came to Krishna consciousness. I'm just not happy about it. But it's just like life. I'm not going to get upset and feel guilty because, I happen to have eaten so many creatures. Even I ate lobsters before I joined the movement. You know what a lobster is? You know how they cook it? They take it out of a tank, and they put it into boiling water, and they boil it alive. And that's, and then people eat it by taking these nutcrackers. You seen it? And they crack open their bodies, and they take the flesh from inside, and they dip it in butter. Yeah, I'm explaining. I'm sure you might have seen this before. And Prabhupada said it's like eating pus. Prabhupada said that. That's Prabhupada's words. And, and many of us did things like that. And so, I'm not going to feel guilty. I did it before. I did it. Now I know better. And I'm not going to do it again. Okay. Let's see. We have another few minutes. Yeah.
I was listening to Gurudev's lecture. He said in his lecture that devotees are liberated. And I would like you to explain what he meant by that.
Means they have no karma. They have no karma, and they're on the road to becoming pure devotees. Like Prabhupada sometimes would say, all my disciples are pure devotees. And I was thinking, what's happening? Doesn't seem like it to me. So I was trying to understand Prabhupada's statement. But that meant if they continued, they're liberated from karma, and they're on the pure devotional path, and if they continue executing devotional service without falling down, they'll be pure devotees. Like a flower bud is a flower. So that's the way I understand it. All right. Should we take questions online?
Yes.
Okay, online, Prabhus. Oh, okay. Who has a question? Oh, Ashwin, you have a question? You're unmuted. All right. Anyone here have a question on my Zoom account? Speak now or forever hold your peace. No one has a question. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. So let's go to the other Zoom. To the other Zoom. Anyone on this Zoom?
Auckland.
The Auckland, whatever you call it.
It's gone Auckland.
ISKCON Auckland Zoom. Anybody on ISKCON Auckland Zoom have a question? No? Nobody has a question. Does anybody in this audience have a question? Otherwise we can end, because we have a full day of visits, thanks to Krishna Chandra. Anyway, our visits are going very nicely. We're just ending on time or a little early, which is actually really good. The timing is really good. So we want to thank Krishna Chandra for all this hard work. He's an ocean of mercy. So, all right, we'll end. All glories to His divine grace. Srila Prabhupada ki